My wonderful, beautiful, amazing Libras. I'm Gabriella from Gabriella's Vampire Tarot. For today, I'm going to be doing a general reading of past, present, future 9-card spread. But before I do that, I want to show you this new vampire ring that my human familiar, he loves to be called human familiar. I mean, I'm just kind of struggling with some of these modern day terminologies. But he had purchased this vampire ring, and it's considered a blood red moon rock in the ring. So I mean, it does not smell of anything near blood or iron for that matter, so I just think it's just by pure design. But anyway, I wanted to show that to you. But anyway, I'm going to be using the regular tarot deck, clarify with the vampire deck, draw a special vampire card, draw a vampire oracle, and then draw 3 yes or no answers for these. So let's get started on your reading. Okay, the general card is the 8 of Swords reversed. Let's look at the first row, which is also your past. You start off with 4 of Cups reversed, 3 of Cups, 5 of Swords. My goodness, it looks like that, you were able to overcome some big obstacle of some kind, and you had so much confidence and drive within you, because normally with the 4 of Cups upward, it's kind of being presented or offered something where you're a bit on the hesitant side. You pretty much just think, well, I already have these 3 chalices, I don't really need anything new. Or maybe it is just any kind of offering where you think, yeah, it just does not seem right and stuff like that. But reverse is pretty much just finally taking action and actually, having some kind of decision. Now, the thing is, the 3 of Cups is definitely something worth celebrating. So maybe, you finally took action, and now you were celebrating something in the past, and it more or less gave you confidence on overcoming this battle. Wow. I mean, I just see so much confidence, so much passion, devotion, inspiration, and motivation that more or less took place in your past, which I think is amazing on so many levels. I mean, I really wonder what it is. I mean, it is just a general reading, but it just looks incredibly promising. So again, kudos and congratulations to my beautiful Libras in the past. So let's look at current times. You start off with 3 of Wands reversed, Ace of Wands reversed, an Emperor reversed. Okay, what's going on in current times? Yeah, I mean, it looks like that you kind of got into something, like you were accepted, hypothetically, it's like if you finally got accepted into like the college you were heading towards, or, the job that you were working towards, this is where you finally, proved yourself, that you're good enough and worthy enough to be accepted into the confines of that college, university, or that job. And so this is something that was worth celebrating. But somehow, in current times, I'm kind of sensing a bit of doubt and hesitation. What's going on? Because the 3 of Wands is kind of like, not feeling entirely prepared about something. Ace of Wands reverse is having no kind of motivation or desire. And the Emperor reverse is like you have no patience, regarding anything, because of this whole event, that took place or is taking place in current times for you. Yeah, the thing is, that's kind of a common theme, that I've actually also come across. Not personally, I mean, on a personal note, not really, because the thing was, of course, it's all just false equivalency, because, it took me about 300 some years to get out of my own personal slumbering of disparity and disappointment. I mean, I don't see that here for you in any way. But what I'm actually sensing is, it's like you were incredibly excited about being accepted into like this college or university, but now you're kind of rethinking it, thinking, I really don't feel prepared at all about this new voyage, and it pretty much results in actually having no inspiration or motivation in current times. Well, it's kind of sad but true, a common theme. One minute you feel like, oh, wonderful, great, congratulations, I'm celebrating this grand achievement, and then the next day you were thinking, what was I thinking? Why? Why did I want that? If you felt pressured, if you felt like you were kind of pushed into actually forcing this celebratory occasion because you have to show how happy you are with this, gift that you were kind of a bit hesitant on, and eventually, but the thing is, you're not alone, because there are probably hundreds of humans within the vicinity of your own home area, wherever you're located, that pretty much feel exactly the same way, whether it's entering into this new university or heading off towards this first job. It's great. You finally get this job, or you get this opportunity, and then the next you're like thinking, I have second thoughts and cold feet. Well, on one aspect, that is just a common theme. So, if you feel like, oh goodness, I'm probably, the only one that, thinks or feels like that in any way, never. Because in the future, you do start off with Nine of Swords, nightmares. Queen of Pentacles reversed. I'm feeling a bit imbalanced. And Five of Pentacles reversed is overcoming some kind of poverty feeling or moment or occasion that'll be taking place in the future. Wow. Yes. Mm-hmm. And again, this could still be resonating in current times where you're, looking at the future in a fearful and uncertain manner, thinking, oh goodness, what if it's not going to work? What if, I don't get along with my boss or my coworkers? What if I don't get along with my roommate or my course mates or my fellow peers or anybody, that you're more or less heading towards, in current times and stuff like that? It's making you feel uneasy and imbalanced because normally, it's like you would hope that you would have no fear and feeling incredibly confident and stable and grounded. But since it pretty much came in where this is upright and this is reversed, it's, this is kind of like looking at the future in uncertainty of thinking, oh goodness, what if? But you know what? I think everything is just going to work out, and this is still a positive manner, where you're pretty much going to be overcoming some kind of poverty, whether, you're going to be getting your first paycheck coming up real soon, or any kind of like overcoming any negativity for that matter in the future. But we're going to have to do clarification. Okay, because for the Four of Cups reversed in the past, Two of Pentacles. Okay, so, you were pretty much juggling many responsibilities and obligations while taking action. Maybe you had to, fill out the final paperwork details of whatever it may be to enter into that university or college or, signing, contracts for this new job and stuff. So this was pretty much, a moment where you pretty much had to kind of, do the last, minute touches and stuff like that, and it looked incredibly beautiful because, the fact is that it even took place in the past and not even in the future, or even in current times for that matter. So this was already kind of the start of actually a silver lining happy ending for you. So, for Three of Cups, Eight of Pentacles, motivation, sitting and hard work. You're celebrating, this wonderful achievement of actually, having this hard work, and motivation within you. Because the thing is, it's like when you finally get accepted into something, this is where, you're finally motivated somehow. Or, when you're actually got accepted into something, that is probably one of the best euphoric feelings anybody could experience for that matter. I remember the human, he told me, it's like, I don't even know where he even went to college for that reason, but, he told me, it's like maybe many years ago, and I was saying, yeah, it's like he, got rejected so many times from all of these big Ivy Leagues, as he called them. I have no idea half the time, these terms are all about because my mind is more back at, the ancient times. But he was telling me how he was probably, practically just, rejected, based off of, his academics or everything, whatever he was doing and stuff like that, till he finally did get accepted somewhere. And the thing was, is, he was beyond overjoyed, but yet he was, of course, very nervous. But, this is where, the overjoying occasion is also taking place as well. Because for Five of Swords, overcoming some kind of, like, a battle of some kind, you get the Eight of Wands. So you're definitely heading out somewhere. So that's why you pretty much are heading out, whether it's to your first job, transition job, overseas, where, whatever, what have you. And so this is where, you're pretty much already, looking at the future and current times regarding this event. So I think that's, it looked incredibly beautiful, strong, and confident in the past, and something that was definitely worth celebrating. So congratulations. And of course, you're never alone regarding, your perspectives and perceptions on fears and stuff. Because despite not feeling emotionally or anywhere, prepared or even motivated, you get the Two of Cups. Now you could have, friends or siblings or family members that pretty much still have your back during this, this circumstance where you pretty much just think, oh goodness, now when the time is coming up, I have to face it tomorrow. It's always, when you have to face things the next day, that really tenses a lot of humans up. It stresses them out. It's just like, a week ago, I only had a week left and then I could just take my time. But now it's the next day that I'm going to be facing this whole, instance, this circumstance, this event and stuff like that. It causes a lot of stress, anxiety, and sleepless nights. Why? Because, it's like you're on the threshold, on the cusp of about to embark on this journey where you already kind of start feeling this anxiety towards and stuff like that. So, but that's why it is a common theme. So, at least be rest assured that you're not the only one that feels those, feelings, thoughts, and or senses for that matter. Because with the Ace of Wands reversed, Eight of Grails. So the thing is, you have no motivation, but yet you're heading out towards wherever it is that you're heading towards and stuff like that. So you pretty much are just practically dragging your feet, or you're pretty much forcing yourself to have to start heading towards that desired future goal of whatever it is, your job, academics, anything, that's pretty much causing you immense self-doubt and so much, just uncertainty in current times. But my beloved Libra, man, woman, follow, fledgling for that matter. The thing is you're not the only one that feels that way, because there are thousands of humans that have had to overcome those feelings of anxiety, stress, frustration, self-doubt, what have you, and stuff like that. So, and eventually, if other humans are kind of in the swing of their routine and stuff like that, again, be rest assured that you'll probably be in a similar situation like that as well, where, it's like, as long as you keep at it and stuff like that, and you try to find the purpose of why you got accepted to that job or university or any kind of overseas abroad opportunity in the first place, right? Because despite having the Emperor reverse of having no patience and really thinking, oh goodness, it's like I'm kind of losing, my whole, motivation, stuff like that. Another celebratory card that's taking place in current times. You're celebrating something in the past, you're celebrating something in current times, and so we'll see what the future even has, probably even more celebratory occasions, but this is something where you're probably also realizing and coming to terms with the reason why you're actually heading out towards that opportunity. And that's kind of what life is all about. It's practically your own life journey. You're being placed in this world, because, it's like this is your opportunity to be human, to be experiencing new things, to get educated, to live, to travel, to experience all different types of sensations and stuff like that. So, and this is where you're finally coming to terms with it. So wonderful. Despite the Nine of Swords, you get the Six of Swords. So, you're worried. In the future, you could still be facing fears of uncertainties. I mean, this could even be taking place in a week or in a month or what have you, even in 3 months for all I know. But you're definitely heading off towards, the future part. And I think that's very admirable and very remarkable on so many levels. Because the thing is, it's like a lot of humans, when, there's this saying, if life gets too comfortable, no, if life becomes uncomfortable, that's actually the moment to actually start taking action and heading out. Because if you're just only, too much in a comfortable, setting of whatever it may be, you're never really, you don't really find the motivation or need to get out into this world or head off towards this uncomfortable situation. And the thing is on one side you can just think, well, why should I? It's nice and comfy here. It's like, it's my life, my choice. Okay, 100% your prerogative. But if you want to be able to experience like new sensations, new ideas, new feelings, new everything, meeting new people, what have you, it's always best to actually head towards, those experiences rather than just kind of just sitting behind thinking, okay, why should I even care? But of course, to each their own. This is a general reading. It doesn't have to be applying to everybody for that matter. Because despite the Queen of Pentacles, where you feel uncertainty or you feel imbalanced or, you're not grounded, you get a beautiful new opportunity of the Ace of Cups. So this is kind of where you're overcoming, your sense of, lack of, personal security for that matter, and your self-doubt. This is where you pretty much just feel like, oh goodness, I feel like I'm just blindfolded heading off towards, like a pen of snakes for that matter. I mean, okay, the thing is, it's like you think, oh goodness, it's not going to work out but you do get this new opportunity. Are you going to accept it or not? And of course, it's like, if somebody were to tell me, it's like, back in my day, it's like we were more or less in a position where we actually barely had any kind of rights or control over our destinies, because it was mostly, based off of our parents' well-being. That's why a lot of my siblings probably just got married off in a blinded setting, thinking, okay, you're going to be with that person, and you're going to be with that person whether you want it or not. Well, the thing is, it's like, you know, of course, it's just a false equivalency because back where I was born and raised is entirely 100% different than current times where you, but either way, it just seems like, you know, are you going to accept this opportunity or not? That's pretty much the question you should definitely be asking yourself. If you feel like, you know, you're on the threshold, the cusp of about to leave your own personal comfort and entering into this uncertain world of whatever it may be, it could end up in a very beautiful, positive experience, or it could also always end up in a negative experience for that matter. But as long as you pretty much just will feel the need and desire, or at least the interest to want to try something new, you know, maybe you do end up in a den of snakes. I can't be for certain for anybody for that matter. But the thing was, is, you know, it's like, yeah, that's kind of the deep and sad truth about life, isn't it? Is the uncertainty. But I do see you finally having this type of motivation and inspiration because maybe, you know, it's like you're finally seeing the benefits of actually heading out and overcoming your own personal fears and uncertainties and your self-doubt and lack of clarity and anything for that matter. And this is you finally finding that motivation in the future. I mean, my goodness. Wow. Congratulations and kudos. Because there's a lot of people in this world that would prefer just to kind of just be in their own personal comfort and think, well, why should I, bother? Why do I do anything? Well, because, you know, it's like, okay, to each a life, if that's how you want to live your personal life, but don't you have that curiosity of wanting to try out different flavors, different, events and stuff like that, because it's also about wanting to build memories and actually look back, when you're just thinking, oh, okay, I remember when this and that, because that's also like the high priestess kind of card. We haven't come across her yet or at all, but it's also about, building up experiences, because then you can pretty much start applying it for, future and what have you and stuff like that. So then you can pretty much just actually think, yeah, I can handle this. Of course, the unknown is scary. Everything is uncertain, but is that ever going to stop you? It shouldn't. Because your special vampire card says Knight of Pentacles. So something is heading towards you slowly but surely, or you're heading towards it slowly but surely. It's, you could have Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo placements. But what I mostly see here is, you're definitely heading towards something slowly but surely. And this is a beautiful financial offering that's going to be taking place. Of course, with any kind of offering, always make sure that all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, and just ask as much advice as possible. Always use your own personal intuition if it looks legitimate, okay, but if something just seems a bit off or uncertain, always rethink that and ask as many questions as possible. Because Oracle says redemption, absolution, forgiveness, and penance. Now the thing is, and with any kind of redemption, if you feel like that you need to forgive yourself, you need to redeem yourself, you need penance. The thing is, if you feel like that you've made any kind of wrong mistakes, wrong turns in your life, the thing is, well, don't ever think, oh goodness, I'm the worst person ever, I'm a failure or a loser for that matter, I shouldn't even be existing, blah, 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 all this negativity. The thing is during any unforeseen circumstance, it's 100% never your fault at all. If you meet somebody and they turn into, will be, the devil, him or herself or itself for that matter, the point is, it's like, if only, it's like, well, you'll be able to tell your past self what you know now, because that's also about gaining experiences as well. But, with any kind of like unforeseen circumstance, whether it's, just heading off towards a job and it just turns into one big negative experience, or any kind of, meeting a new person or trying something that's just beyond awful or whatever it may be, the thing is, those are called experiences, sad but true. And don't ever feel like that you need to be, doing any kind of penance, and always do a lot of self-forgiveness, and absolution doesn't really exist all too much, but redeeming yourself in so many ways by living a healthy, beautiful, positive future, and take excellent good care of yourself and do a lot of self-forgiveness. Okay, I'm going to finish off with 3 yes or no answers. Please feel free to pause this video and think about the questions you want answered. For number 1, you get a yes with the 4 of Swords reversed. A no with the World reversed. I'm not allowed to show the World, so you get a yes and a no. And you get a yes with the 2 of Swords reversed. Okay, so you get 2 yeses and 1 no in this reading. Well, my beautiful, amazing Libras, if this reading resonated for you, please feel free to join and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love you guys incredibly. In a few days, I'm going back to love reading. So for now, love reading. Sorry about that. And And I'm also open for personal readings, so all you have to do is subscribe to this channel, post in the little discussion box below that you want a personal reading from me. I'll respond to you with my email, and we'll start the process from there. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me today. I love you guys incredibly, and best of luck on where this journey may take you.